Good morning. Good morning to all the students. Now today we will see chapter number 3 or unit number 3, kinematics, dynamics and control. This is the last chapter. This is the third chapter in your syllabus. Already we have finished 5 chapters. Therefore, this may be the last chapter. Already you are knowing that exam is there. Exam from 24th January. Online exam. Therefore, whatever test provided to you, solve that online test sincerely. Also, whatever objective questions provided to you, study that objective questions properly. Now we will start unit 3, kinematics, dynamics and control. Now what is meant by kinematics? Kinematics means study of motion. Dynamics means study of motion and forces. And control means how to control the things or how to control the different motions of the robot. Now this is the syllabus. Kinematics, dynamics and control. Forward kinematics, inverse kinematics for 2 degree of freedom and 3 degree of freedom planar manipulators. Then dynamics, in that we are going to study velocity, Jacobian, singularities. Then control architecture of robots. Overview of advanced control techniques such as force control, PID control, adaptive control, and PWM control. Trajectory planning, joint space schemes, Cartesian space schemes, issues in trajectory planning, derivations and numerical exercises on simple 2 degree of freedom and 3 degree of freedom manipulators. Therefore, this is the syllabus. Now, today we will see kinematics and dynamics. Now, kinematics. For a robot to perform a specific task, the position and orientation of the end effector, that is its pose or configuration relative to the base, should be established first. This is essential for positioning problem. When the above relations are differentiated once and twice, then the problems of velocity and acceleration analysis arise respectively, which are required for smooth motion control of the end effector and dynamic analysis of the robot at hand. Since the configuration of the end effector is determined by the 6 Cartesian variables that are controlled by the robot's joint motions, it is necessary to find the relations between the two sets. In position analysis, a relative motion or a relation between the Cartesian coordinates, that is the position of a point on the end effector, and its orientation and the joint angles are found. Here, 2 types of problems exist, namely forward or direct and inverse, as illustrated in figure 6.1. In forward kinematics, the joint positions are given and the problem is to find the end effector's configuration. In inverse kinematics, the reverse problem is solved, that is, if the configuration of the end effector is given, the problem is to find the joint angles. Now, see here in forward kinematics, forward and inverse kinematics. In forward kinematics, theta1 and theta2 is given, and we have to find out force. And in case of inverse kinematics, this force P or pressure P is provided, and we have to find out theta1, theta2 and theta3. Therefore, this is nothing but forward and reverse kinematics. Now, if the joints are moved at an angle theta1, theta2 and theta3, the positions of these joints or angles of these joints will trace a curve like this, as shown in this figure on the right hand side, that is theta1, theta2 and theta3. Now, next is position representation. The kinematics of the RR robot are difficult. RR means what? It is nothing about rotation. Robot are more difficult to analyze than LL robot. LL robot means what? Where only we have seen different types of robots. Cartesian robot, polar robot, spherical robot, Skara robot, delta robot. Therefore, that RR robot means what? Where rotation exists, or that is nothing but cylindrical robot. LL robot means Cartesian robot. Only that robot's arms will move along X, Y, and Z axis only. But in case of cylindrical robot moves along X, Y, and Z axis, as well as there is another motion, that is rotational motion exists. That is nothing but RR robot, and we will make frequent use of this configuration and extensions of it throughout the chapter. Figure 4.2 illustrates the geometric form of the RR manipulator. For the present discussion, our analysis will be limited to the two-dimensional case. The position of the end of the arm may be represented in a number of ways. One way is to utilize the two joint angles theta1 and theta2. This is known as the representation in joint space, and we may define it as Pj is equal to theta1, theta2. Another way to define the arm position is in world space. This involves the use of a Cartesian coordinate system that is external to the robot. The origin of the Cartesian axis system is often located in the robot's base. Therefore, this is nothing but two-dimensional, 2 degree of freedom robot or manipulator. See that? Or rotational motion. Rotational motion means angular motion. See that if this arm of the robot will move or will rotate at an angle of theta1, then this second arm will rotate at an angle of theta2. This is the x horizontal axis, x axis, vertical axis, y axis. L1 is the length of this arm, L2 is the length of this arm. This is the end effector. That coordinate quantity is provided PW of xy. The end arm position would be defined in world space as PW is equal to xy. This concept of a point definition in world space can readily be extended to 3 dimensions, that is PW is equal to x, y, z. Representing an arm's position in world space is useful when the robot must communicate with other machines. These other machines may not have a detailed understanding of the robot's kinematics, and so a neutral representation such as the world space must be used. In order to use both representations, we must be able to transform from one to the other. Going from joint space to world space is called the forward transformation or forward kinematics while going from world space to joint space is called the reverse transformation or inverse kinematics. Now, these are the equations, that is forward transformation of a 2-degree of freedom arm. We can determine the position of the end of the arm in world space by defining a vector for link 1 and another for link 2, that is r1 is equal to L1 cos theta 1 into L1 sin theta 1, equation 4.1. R2 is equal to L2 cos of theta 1 plus theta 2 and L2 sin of theta 1 plus theta 2, equation 4.2. Vector addition of 4.1 and 4.2 yields the coordinates x and y of the end of the arm, that is point PW in world space. Therefore, x is equal to L1 cos theta 1 plus L2 cos of theta 1 plus theta 2, equation 4.3. Y is equal to L1 sin theta 1 plus L2 sin of theta 1 plus theta 2, equation 4.4. Now, reverse transformation of the 2-degree of freedom arm. In many cases, it is more important to be able to derive the joint angles given the end of arm position in world space. The typical situation is where the robot's controller must compute the joint angles required to move its end of arm to a point in space defined by the point's coordinates. For the two-link manipulator we have developed, there are two possible configurations for reaching the point xy as shown in figure 4.3. This is so because the relation between the joint angles and the end arm and the end effector coordinates involve sine and cosine terms. Hence, we can get two solutions when we solve the two equations as given in the section above. Some strategy must be developed to select the appropriate configuration. One approach is that employed in the control system of the Unimate Puma robot. In the Puma's control language VAL, there is a set of commands called above and below that determines whether the elbow is to make an angle theta 2 that is greater than or less than 0 as illustrated in 4.3. For our example, let us assume the theta 2 is positive as shown in figure 4.2. Using the trigonometric identities, cos of a plus b is equal to cos a cos b minus sin a sin b, and sin of a plus b is equal to sin a cos b plus sin b cos a. Now this is the diagram, figure 4.3. The arm at point pxy indicating two possible configurations to achieve the position. Therefore, earlier our position is this, that is below, and if we rotate this link like this, then we will get this another position shown by the dotted line. We can rewrite equations 4.3 and 4.4 as x is equal to L1 cos theta 1 plus L2 cos theta 1 into cos theta 2 minus L2 sin theta 1 sin theta 2. Y is equal to L1 sin theta 1 plus L2 sin theta 1 cos theta 2 plus L2 cos theta 1 sin theta 2. Squaring both sides and adding the two equations yields cos theta 2 is equal to x square plus y square minus L1 square minus L2 square divided by 2L1 L2, equation 4.5. Defining alpha and beta as in figure 4.4, we get tan of alpha is equal to L2 sin theta 2 divided by L2 cos theta 2 plus L1, equation 4.6, and tan of beta is equal to y divided by x. Using the trigonometric identity, tan of a minus b is equal to tan a minus tan b divided by 1 plus tan a tan b. Now, this figure 4.4 solving for the joint angles. Now we get therefore tan of theta 1 is equal to y into bracket L1 plus L2 cos theta 2 minus x L2 sin theta 2 divided by x into bracket L1 plus L2 cos theta 2 plus y L2 sin theta 2. 4.7. Knowing the link lengths L1 and L2, we are now able to calculate the required joint angles to place the arm at a position XY in world space. Now we will see 3 degrees of freedom arm in 2 dimensions. The arm we have been modeling is very simple. A 2-jointed robot arm has little practical value except for very simple tasks. Let us add to the manipulator a modest capability for orienting as well as positioning a part or tool. Accordingly, we will incorporate a 3rd degree of freedom into the previous configuration to develop the RRR manipulator as shown in figure 4.5. This 3rd degree of freedom will represent a wrist joint. The world space coordinates for the wrist end would be x is equal to L1 cos theta 1 plus L2 cos of theta 1 plus theta 2 plus L3 cos of theta 1 plus theta 2 plus theta 3. Y is equal to L1 sin theta 1 plus L2 sin of theta 1 plus theta 2 plus L3 sin of theta 1 plus theta 2 plus theta 3. And psi is equal to theta 1 plus theta 2 plus theta 3. Equation 4.8. We can use the results that we have already obtained for the 2 degree of freedom manipulator to do the reverse transformation for the 3 degree of freedom arm. When defining the position of the end of the arm, we will use x, y and psi. The angle psi is the orientation angle for the wrist. Given these 3 values, we can solve for the joint angles theta 1, theta 2 and theta 3 using x3 is equal to x minus L3 cos psi, y3 is equal to y minus L3 sin psi. Now this is the diagram. Having determined the position of joint 3, the problem of determining theta 1 and theta 2 reduces to the 2 degree of freedom manipulator previously analyzed. Now you just see the 2-dimensional 3 degree of freedom manipulator with orientation. Why it is called 3 degree of freedom? Because 3 angles are there to represent the given position of the arm. This first theta 1, theta 2 and theta 3. 3 angles are required to completely define the position of this robot arm, and that's why it is known as 3 degree of freedom. Earlier we have seen the example 2 degree of freedom in which only angles theta 1 and theta 2 are required to define the position. To notice that homogeneous transformation is not unique, as the coordinate of a point can be scaled simply by changing the scaling parameter. The 3 vectors given above all refer to the same point with different W. A vector can be translated or rotated in space by means of a transformation. The transformation is accomplished by 4x4 matrix H. For instance, the vector V is transformed into the vector U by the following matrix operation: U is equal to HV. The transformation to accomplish a translation of a vector in space by distance A in the x direction and B in the y direction and C in the z direction is given by H is equal to transformation or translation ABC into matrix of 1 0 0 A, 0 1 0 B, 0 0 1 C and 0 0 0 1. Now we'll solve some examples. Example 4.1. For the vector V is equal to 25I plus 10J plus 20K, perform a translation by a distance of 8 in the x direction and 5 in the y direction and 0 in the z direction. The translation transformation would be, therefore H is equal to translation of ABC into matrix of 1 0 0 8, 0 1 0 5, 0 0 1 0, 0 0 0 1. The translated vector would be HV is equal to H into V, means HV. Multiplication is there. Matrix of 1 0 0 8, 0 1 0 5, 0 0 1 0 and 0 0 0 1. Again matrix of 25 10 21, which is equal to, now there is matrix multiplication. 25 into 1 plus 8 into 1 is 33. Again 10 into 1 plus 5 into 1 means 15. Again 20 into 1 plus 1 into 1 is equal to, no, only 20 into 1 is equal to 20, because 0 into 1 0, and last multiplication 1 into 1 is equal to 1. Therefore we will get the matrix which is equal to 33 15 21, single column matrix. Rotations of a vector about each of the three axes by an angle theta can be accomplished by rotation transformations. About the x-axis, the rotation transformation is rotation of x theta is equal to 1 0 0 0, 0 cos theta minus sin theta 0, 0 sin theta cos theta 0, 0 0 0 1. Equation 4.20. Then about the y-axis, rotation of y theta is equal to cos theta 0 sin theta 0, 0 1 0 0 minus sin theta 0 cos theta 0 and 0 0 0 1. About z-axis, rotation z theta is equal to cos theta minus sin theta 0 0, sin theta cos theta 0 0, 0 0 1 0, 0 0 0 1. Equation 4.22. In concept, it is possible to develop the rotation transformation about any vector k, where k is not one of the major axes x, y or z of the coordinate system. This rotation transformation is defined as rotation k theta. Now, example 4.2, rotate the vector v is equal to 5i plus 3j plus 8k by an angle 90 degree about the x-axis. The rotation transformation is given by h is equal to rotation of x 90 is equal to one matrix of 1 0 0 0, 0 cos 90 minus sin 90 0, 0 sin 90 cos 90 0 and 0 0 0 1. Now h into v is equal to matrix multiplication. First matrix of 1 0 0 0, 0 0 minus 1 0, 0 1 0 0 and 0 0 0 1 into matrix of 5, 3, 8, 1 is equal to, now by multiplication of the matrix you are getting the a single column matrix as 5, then minus 8, then 3, and then 1. That is 5 minus 8, 3, 1. In both of the examples, matrix multiplication was carried out to determine the results of the transformations. In subsequent discussions, we will be performing a series of matrix multiplications in order to accomplish more complex transformations. It is important to note that performing 2 or more transformations in a row will only yield the same result if the transformations are carried out in the same sequence. In general, AB does not equal to BA. One final concept important in our discussion of robotics is the concept of inverse transformation. Given a transformation of the form T is equal to matrix of NX, OX, AX, PX, then NY, OY, AY, PY, NZ, OZ, AZ, PZ, and 0, 0, 0, 1. Equation 4.23. The inverse transformation T denoted by T inverse is defined as follows. Therefore, T inverse is equal to matrix of NX, NY, NZ minus PN, OX, AY, OZ minus PO, then AX, AY, AZ minus PA, then 0, 0, 0, 1, where P into N, then P into O and P into A represent the dot products of the column vectors N, O, A and P. The dot product P into N is the scalar Px Nx plus Py Ny plus Pz Nz. Similar interpretations apply to P into O and P into A. As the reader might anticipate, the effect of an inverse transformation T inverse is to undo the opposition accomplished by the transformation itself. Now, example 4.3. A vector V is equal to 3i plus 2j plus 7k is rotated by 60 degree about the z-axis of the reference frame. It is then rotated by 30 degree about the x-axis of the reference frame. Find the rotation transformation. Therefore, H1 is equal to Rz60 is equal to cos 60 minus sin 60, 0, 0. Sin 60, cos 60, 0, 0. 0, 0, 1, 0. Then 0, 0, 0, 1. H2 is equal to R of x 30 degree is equal to matrix of 1, 0, 0, 0. 0 cos 30 minus sin 30, 0. 0 sin 30 cos 30, 0. 0, 0, 0, 1. Therefore, H2 into H1 is equal to, now we will multiply the matrix 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.5 minus 8, 0, 0, 0.8, 0.5, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, then 0.5, another matrix 0.5 minus 0.8, 0, 0, 0.8, 0.5, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. Therefore, H is equal to final by multiplication 0.5 minus 0.8, 0, 0, 0.4, 0.25 minus 0.8, 0, then 0.64, 0.4, 0.50, then 0, 0, 0, 1 into matrix of 3, 2, 7, 1, which is equal to minus 0.1, minus 3.9, 6.22. Note, the second rotation is performed about the reference, hence the two matrices are reversed during multiplication, that is pre-multiplication. Now example 4.4, a vector v is equal to 3i plus 2j plus 7k is rotated by 60 degree about the z-axis of the reference frame. It is then again rotated by 30 degree about the x-axis by the rotated frame. Find the rotation transformation. Note, as the second rotation is about the rotated frame, the multiplication order does not reverse. Therefore, h of rz60 is equal to cos 60 degree minus sin 60 0 0, then sin 60 cos 60 0 0, then 0 0 1 0, then 0 0 0 1. Now what, find out rotation transformation. Therefore h2 is equal to r of x 30 degree, which is equal to 1 0 0 0 0 cos 30 minus sin 30 0 0 sin 30 cos 30 0 and 0 0 0 1. Therefore h1 into h2 is equal to, now above matrix is h2, earlier we have seen h1. Therefore h1 into h2 is equal to 0.5 minus 0.8 0 0, then 0.8 0.5 0 0, then 0 0 1 0, then 0 0 0 1 into matrix of 1 0 0 0, then 0 minus 0.5 5 minus 0.8 0 0 0.8 0.5 0, then 0 0 0 1. Therefore, by multiplication we are getting h1 into h2 is equal to again 0.5 minus 0.4 plus 0.6 0, 0.8 0.25 0 0, then 0 0.8 0.5 0, then 0 0 0 1. Therefore h is equal to, again true matrix multiplication, 0.5 minus 0.4 0.6 0, 0.8 0.25 0 0, then 0 0.8 0.5 0, then 0 0 0 1 into 3271 is equal to a vertical matrix of single column is equal to 4.9, 2.9 and 2.1. Sorry, 5.1. Now example 4.5, a vector v is equal to 2i plus 5j plus 3k is rotated by 60 degree about the z-axis and translated by 3, 4 and 5 units in the x, y and z directions respectively. Find the vector with reference to the reference frame. The homogeneous transformation matrix is given by H is equal to matrix of cos 60 minus sin 60 0 3, sin 60 cos 60 0 4, then 0 0 1 5, then 0 0 0 1. The vector is given as 0.5 minus 0.8 0 3, then 0.8 0.5 0 4, then 0 0 1 0, sorry 1 5, 0 0 0 1 into vertical matrix of 2531, which is equal to again vertical, it will vertical matrix only. Therefore, which is equal to 0, 0, 8.1, 8.0 minus 1. Now, next point is dynamics. The equations of motion for a robot, that is the way the motion of the robot arises due to torques and forces applied at the joints by the actuators, will be studied. A set of equations that describe the dynamical behavior of a robot, also referred as the dynamic model of the robot, will be developed. This development is important in several ways. A dynamic model can be used to develop suitable control strategies. A sophisticated control requires the use of a realistic dynamic model to achieve optimal performance of the robot under high-speed operations. Some control schemes rely directly on a dynamic model to compute actuator torques and forces required to follow a desired trajectory. Then second point, the derived dynamic model can be used for computer simulation of a robotic system. By examining the behavior of the model under various operating conditions, it is possible to predict how a robot will behave when it will be built. The dynamic analysis of a robot gives all the joint reaction forces and moments needed for the design and sizing of the links, bearings, and actuators. Given a robot, that is knowing its physical parameter, one normally wishes to solve two problems related to its dynamics. They are inverse dynamics and forward or direct dynamics. The inverse dynamics problem is to find the actuator torques and or forces required to generate a desired trajectory of the root's end effector. The formulation of dynamics is useful for the problem of controlling the robot. The second problem, the forward dynamics, is required to find the response of the robot arm corresponding to some applied torques and or forces at the joints. That is, given the joint torques and or forces, compute the resulting motion of the robot as a function of time. This is not as critical as that for inverse dynamics, since it is used primarily for computer simulation of robot, which just shows how a robot will perform when it is built. On the other hand, an efficient inverse dynamics model becomes extremely important for the real-time control of robots. The dynamic equations of motion can be formulated by several methods. One approach is to apply the Euler-Lagrange equations of motion. The advantages of this approach is that it eliminates the forces of constraints from the dynamic equations of motion if the generalized coordinates are independently chosen. The elimination makes it suitable for motion control and simulation. However, these eliminated constraint forces can be recovered using Lagrange multipliers if they are to be used for the purpose of design. Therefore, you must first of all study, that is how to, by using robot force arm or these force constraints for dynamic equations. Why? Because In case of Euler-Lagrange equations, the advantage of employing this approach is that it eliminates the force of constraints from the dynamic equations of motion if the generalized coordinates are independently chosen. Another approach is the application of Newton and Euler laws for linear and rotational motions respectively. Newton's and Euler's equations of motion for each link of the robot results in a system of equations that contain both the applied forces and the forces constants. These equations can then be solved simultaneously for all the forces, including those due to constraints which do not contribute to the motion of the links but required for the link design. If one is interested only with a common simulation, the constant forces can be eliminated using the geometric and kinematic relations describing the nature of constants. There exist alternate methodologies to solve robot dynamics as well. For example, D'Alembert's principle or Keynes equations of motion, and these based on the orthogonal complements of the vector Keynes equations of motion and those based on the orthogonal complements of the velocity constant matrices. Now, robot arm dynamic. The topic robot dynamics is concerned with the analysis of the torques and forces due to acceleration and deceleration. Torques experienced by the joints due to acceleration of the joints as well as forces experienced by the links due to torques applied by the joints are included within the scope of the dynamic analysis. Solving for the corrections of the links is difficult due to a number of factors. For example, the acceleration is dependent on the inertia of the arm. However, the inertia is dependently moved. An additional factor that influences the inertia of the mass of the flywheel payload and its position with respect to the joints. This also changes as the joints are moved. Figure 4.16 shows the two-link arm in the maximum and minimum inertia configuration. See that this is two-link arm. Two links means joints are 1, 2. How this arm inertia? First, minimize inertia about J1. J1 means polar moment of inertia. J2, there is figure B, maximum inertia about J1. The torques required to drive the robot arm are not only determined by the static and dynamic forces described above. Each joint must also react to the torques of other joints in the manipulator, and the effects of these reactions must be included in the analysis. Also, if the arm moves at a relatively high speed, the centrifugal effects may be significant enough to consider. The various torques applied to the two-jointed manipulator are illustrated in figure 4.17. The picture becomes substantially more complicated as the number of joints is increased. Therefore, you just see this is the base joint J1, this is joint J2, this is joint J3. Now this T1 is equal to J1 torque. T1, this vertical column is there or vertical bar, it is having torque T1 only one direction. Then this T2, that is J2 torque, on this link 2. This T2 torque will act T3 J3 torque. This is T3. Now T12 centrifugal effect of J1 on J2. T32 reaction of T3 by J2, and T23 effect of J2 on J3. Now dynamics, there are many different approaches to computing the dynamics of a robot arm. In this section, we will briefly discuss about the Newton-Euler method and the Euler-Lagrangian formulation. The Newton-Euler method is a force balance approach, while the Euler-Lagrangian approach is an energy-based approach. In the Newton-Euler formulation, we are required to first compute the linear and angular accelerations of the mass centers of each link. Then the inertia forces and torques acting at the center of each link is calculated as Fi is equal to M into Vi, and Ni is equal to I into Wi plus Wi into Iwi, where Fi is the force and Ni is the torque, that is the moment acting at the three mass centers of each link. I, Vi and omega or Wi are linear velocity and angular velocity of each link center I. I is the inertia tensor of each link. After computing all the forces and moments, the torques applied at each joint is found by taking the Z component of the torque tau applied by one link to the other. Therefore, one, that is Ti, is equal to Ni into Zi. In the Lagrangian formulation, we derive the equation of motion using a scalar function called the Lagrangian, which is the difference between the kinetic and potential energies of each link. The scalar Lagrangian function is written as L is equal to Ke minus Pe, where Ke and Pe are the potential, kinetic and potential energies of the link. The kinetic energy of a link is given by Ke is equal to 1/2 Mi Vi square plus 1/2 Wi into Iwi, while the potential energy of the link is given by potential energy is equal to minus mg into Pi, where g is the gravity vector that normally points downwards, hence the negative, and Pi is the position of the center of the link. The equation of motion of the manipulator is then derived from by d of dt of dl into dl divided by d theta dot minus dl by d theta is equal to tau, where tau is the vector of joint torques. Using the Lagrangian formulation, the final equation of motion takes the form d theta of theta double dot plus h of theta theta dot and theta plus theta plus f is equal to z, where d theta of theta double dot is equal to inertia forces, h theta of theta dot is equal to Coriolis and centrifugal forces, c theta is equal to gravity force, and f is equal to joint function friction or external forces. Normally, a computer program is required to find the dynamic torques of a large manipulator. Therefore, this kinematics and dynamics is over. We will stop here. Thank you. Please put your numbers in the chat box and then we will stop here. Thank you very much.